Have you struggled to choose blocks for your buildings in Minecraft? Are you scared to mix and match blocks? Is your building a singular color or looking just a bit too bland? Well, then this is the video for you. Hey everyone, Peter here, and I'm here to show you all how I choose my blocks for building in Minecraft. Now I know building with things other than stone, dirt, or wood may be daunting at first. Trust me, I've been there. My first ever build was a floating cobblestone castle. It was awful. Everything spawned underneath it. But I was pretty terrified to mix up the blocks. Over the years I learned tips and tricks from both playing Minecraft and my experience with environment art for games, and I'm here to share them with you. Here are my top 10 Minecraft tips for choosing your building blocks. Tip 1. Before you even start building, it's best to think about your surrounding area. Are you in a desert? How about a mountain biome? When choosing your blocks, make sure they match with the surrounding biome to make it look natural. Much like real life, we use what's around us. For example, if I started on a mountain, I would choose blocks like andesite, stone, and maybe a mix of spruce since it's a tree that works great with stone builds. Tip number 2. Alright, now that we've chosen a biome, it's time to choose an area in that biome. What I mean by that is, do you want to build in a cave, in the side of a mountain, or underneath a giant floating island? These choices affect the blocks you'll be using because some blocks are easier to blend in with their environments. For example, concrete blocks would be tough to blend into a cave build compared to using a lot of stone, granite, and andesite. If you build in the mountain, you don't have to worry about the exterior besides, say, the door, so that would also change your choice in blocks. So choose where you would like to build, and that'll help you build more naturally compared to already going in with an idea and trying to force it into an environment. Usually it ends up looking pretty unnatural. Tip number 3. Let's talk about the big factor, and that's theme. If you went with a medieval build, you wouldn't be seeing a lot of purples, pinks, or bright colors, with the exception of a castle with tapestries or flags. However, you would see a lot of browns, grays, and greens. A colorful build would be something like a building from Miami Vice or a cyberpunk structure. Building with a lot of color is extremely difficult, and can take time to master, but the outcome does look amazing. Learn to build with the basic palettes for classic builds before you start branching out to crazier themes. A classic medieval build is much easier to learn from, and the same core color schemes can be used to move towards something crazier like a steampunk build. In fact, that's what I did with this build. I started medieval and decided I wanted to make it steampunk. The natural foundational aspect of the blocks used in the medieval lent nicely to having a steampunk clock added on top of it. But let's learn the classics before getting a little bit too crazy. Tip number 4. Alright, so we have our biome, our area of choice, and finally our theme. Now what? Let's make a block palette. Now you may be asking, what is a block palette? Well, let me tell you. So a block palette is your group of blocks you'll be using for your build. This includes fences, stairs, and slabs that you can make with the blocks you've chosen. The block palette you choose should focus on color more than the type of block. Just because acacia wood is a wood block doesn't mean it doesn't look good with stone blocks. You're probably curious about how you go about choosing blocks. Well, don't worry, I've got you covered there too. Tip number 5. I like to start with a foundation block, a block I would use to build everything on. This helps add weight to your build. Having a strong foundation helps add a feeling of realism, even if your build could technically be built on torches. Blocks I like to use are cobblestone, brick, stone brick, and nether brick. In some cases I also like to use wood logs like spruce and dark oak. Mix these in with some of their mossy counterparts when near water and your build will melt right into the landscape. Tip number 6. Time to choose your main building blocks. Try to choose between 3 to 4 blocks. Any more than that and your build will be hard to read and look pretty noisy. Unless you're an extremely skilled builder, I would suggest strongly that you stick with a few blocks and focus on placement more than adding a few random blocks for the sake of shaking things up. For example, if you're building medieval, I would choose spruce logs, spruce wood, stone bricks, and andesite. With these 4 blocks and their fence, stair, and slab counterparts, I was able to build this. Notice how even with just 4 blocks the build looks like it's swimming in detail. Tip number 7. Try to choose at least one dark block that can help outline your build. This helps your build pop out from the surrounding landscape and lets you define the parts that are important. Dark blocks also add the contrast needed to make your colored blocks pop out a lot more. Tip number 8. For the love of all that is good, use stairs and slabs in your build. They add so much dimension from roofs to stairways. They are literally the best thing you can use to make your build pop. In fact, if you had to take one piece of advice from this video, it would be use stairs and slabs. So when choosing your blocks, make sure some of them have stairs and slab options. Tip number 9. Figure out your light source. Now, when I started playing Minecraft, the only light source that wouldn't burn your house down was a torch. Nowadays, we have so many options: torches, lanterns, campfires, soul torches, soul lanterns, and so much more. There are a lot of ways to disguise light to fit your build, but I usually like to go with the classics: torches and lanterns for medieval and Victorian, glowstone, sea lanterns, and end rods for modern or futuristic builds. But the option is yours. My tips are always more guidelines. Use them to learn from and how to make them your own. Think of it like cooking. You follow the recipe until you realize you hate raisins and oatmeal cookies, and decide to substitute them with chocolate chips. Now, why anyone would make oatmeal raisin cookies in the first place is beyond me, but I digress. Once you learn the basics, you can start to experiment and make things your own. Tip number 10. You've done it! You got your blocks, your theme, your biome. All you need is a plan to start building. Now, I'll go in depth in another video about how you approach building certain things, but for now the simplest tip I can give you is to avoid making something completely square. It's very hard to make square look good, unless you're building modern, in which case square is king. Take these two builds for example, one square and the other one a little bit more random. They both use the same blocks, but one has a lot more dimension and life to it. Add some variation to your layout, add rooms, circles, go nuts. Minecraft is great for stretching their imagination muscles. I hope you enjoyed these top 10 tips for choosing blocks and starting your build. I'll be doing future videos on how to lay out your build and how to detail your build, so look out in the near future for that. If you like this tutorial, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for future content. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you guys soon.